distinguished scholars, global and Thai professional and executives in sustainability and CSR business, businessmen and women, and of course, all sustainable ladies and gentlemen. What I noticed when I came in here this morning, I guess this is a business venue. And I just feel that I'm in the wrong place. I see everyone is getting busy. Busy is being a part of business, I guess. Because if you are not busy, you wouldn't have a business. So what I see is that everyone is exciting. Everyone is expecting, and everyone is exchanging with each other. But if you allowed me, as I'm already here, I don't know in what status, but being a very alien race than everyone of us here, if you allowed me, I would like to just prepare this very convention. How should we carry on this convention? In a more mindful way, in a more kind of a mental preparation. So, I would like to ask every one of us here, just try to connect deep into your awareness. Just for a moment, leave all your anxiety, expectations, worry, and everything. Just lump it in the outside of this hall. Just leave it there. Think of your body. Think of your breath. And of course, the very foundation of sustainability. Without body, there's no point of we are coming together here. So don't take away from your expectations alone. Try to understand who you are. Therefore, you can sit upright, or you can sit any postures you like. Try to be at the moment, try to be at present, and bring yourself to this convention, ready to embrace what is going to happen. You can close your eyes if you want. It is not necessary. You can do any posture. Just think of the essence of all our life and business. That is our breath. Breathe in. Just realize that you are breathing in. Breathe out. Just realize that you are breathing out. No anxiety, no emotions, no expectations, just to be bliss at this very moment. Please wake from this right here. Resting in awareness, grounding in the body, and embrace peacefully. Everything arises around you with a sharp knowing. Be the knowing, the Buddha. That is my invitation to you this morning. Then you can expand your awareness, your feeling, your connectivity with the people who are sitting next to you. Maybe you are touching. We are here touching each other's in a profound way that we are in the web of this bigger connectedness. So whatever you think of business, whatever you think of brands, whatever your way of life, it is valuable, it is important, because you are somebody connected in this world with others. And with that appreciation of connectedness, we become praiseworthy to live in. It has become valuable of every breath of us that we are not only living here together, but we are creating a new world, a world of peaceful and prosperity. Thank you. I am truly grateful to the Thailand Management Association, TMA, and Sustainable Brands 2015 Bangkok for having done me the honor of inviting me to speak on this keynote session. Standing, or more or less I'm sitting here, in front of you, I'm wondering which hat I should wear this morning. Although a monk's costume does not require a hat. If I were here with monastic duty, that I should have been the first one to inaugurate this conference with a proper Buddhist chanting. But that honor has been done by the president of the TMA. This conference is already inaugurated. Therefore, I don't know, why am I here as a Buddhist monk? Of course, I'm not doing a Buddhist monk's task. But based on your schedule, I'm very honored that you put me as the first speaker. And as being a part of a first speaker, I think I'm very lucky to use this time to guide you some of my perspective. Although sometimes I don't know what I'm able to guide you. To be honest, I became a novice when I was just the age of 14. My whole life, my whole world is what I know is only the world of Buddhism. And then I'm here in these very alienated places of a business. Although Buddhism and business started with a B, but I don't see anything similarities at all. From my part as a Buddhist monk, from my part of a Buddhist training, what I was trained is that I have to disengage in all desire and greed, which, in opposite, as a businessman, you are supposed to improvise, you are supposed to increase that very greed. And not only increase or improvise that greed within yourself, but your task as a business is trying to enchant, trying to improvise that greed to others so that they can be happy with their fulfilling their greed. So, how these two polarizations come together here in this morning, I have no idea. So, I don't know how much I can say about the Reimagine, redesign, and rebirth, this sustainable brands thing. But for sure, I can come and complain to you about a monastic way, a monastic point of view, how I think of your work ethics. Therefore, I hope that I wouldn't really give you a hard time by let you listen my complaint. As I said that I'm very in an awkward position here, talking about building a brand the Buddhist way. I think that is the topic I was given. It really confused me. People say Buddhism is nothing to do with branding, I guess. Although Buddhism itself has been branding in this world for 25 centuries. And successfully, of course. Based on the list of speakers I see from the program, it looks like every one of you here is a CEO. You are leading some kind of a business firm, or you are a businessman. On the contrary, I am here, nothing of those. I am not a CEO. I don't have a Buddhist business firm, because based on your participation, looks like I have to stand here as a representative of a Buddhist business firm, if there is a one such as. But I am not. And most importantly, I am not here as a popular Buddhist monk. Because I am not here to sell Buddhism, for sure. In Thailand these days, we have heard, we are familiar, especially one who is Thai, the word Putthapanit. That is a Buddhist commercialization. Of course, I am not here to do that. So you can be relieved on that. I am here as a simple Buddhist monk who want to complain about your old ethics, that's all. I am not here to sell amulets. I am not here to sprinkle your holy water. I am not here to even sell what we call bun. These days, we know that the Buddhism has outgrown from its own turf. And then even Buddhism is doing a good branding. In Thailand, especially these days, it's very familiar that we hear the word branding Buddhism as a bun market. Bun is a Thai, of course. That is a merit. So we are marketing merit. We are selling merit in the society. Is this all about Buddhism? So therefore, I'm not here to do that. But my worry, my concentrations is what I call reimagine. I don't know what do we mean by reimagine. I have just seen that Koan have gave us definitions to be able to see things in a new way, new conceptions, set up a new life. And we are trying to see the whole new world. I look at the dictionary. When the idea of reimagine become relevant to us. And I see that it was as only 1934 that the first uses of the word reimagine started in the society. So what it signifies that the reimagination, we have to see in a new way is very important, because the old way that we have been seeing our world, the old way what we have been doing our business is creating a lot of bad result. And as a legacies of what our ancestors has laid out, the legacies of our ancestors, our predecessors has done, is that we are facing that problem. We are facing that realization. And we come to realize that we can't follow on the way what our predecessors has gone through. We have to look at our world in a new way. We have to reimagine. Because the old way, as Koan has briefly mentioned that, it's become a problem when we think of our business, when we think of our surviving. And based on our own surviving, what we did is that we consume a lot. What we did is that we forget to think of others. What happened is that we have developed ourselves, become so big, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Just like the obesity, it is getting a problem. But the obesity here is that the obesity of ego, obesity of desire. That's why we never have the word enough. So now we have to think of enough is enough. Because not having the word enough within our brain system, with our thinking system, with our imagination system, that's how we are saying that our environment is, our resources is depletion, our environment is degrading, and of course, our society is getting worse and worse. We are not able to live happily. We are trying to now, these days, trying to prison ourselves in our home, hoping that that will be the most safe place to live. But still, there is no safe and security anywhere. And this is the result we are getting from what we have been doing from the old days. So that's why Reimagine is very necessary. Reimagine is indeed necessary for betterment of our world. The betterment is not only limited to our generation, but future generations to come. Therefore, how do we reimagine your business and brands? If I ask, are you satisfied with your present business and brands in the midst of a current economic recession? I'm sure that I will get answer in opposite. Moreover, there are some factors, both from internal and external sources, which demand us to run our business in a new way. Today, we are talking about CRS, sustainability, sufficiency economy, GNH, gross national happiness, resources, globalizations, and of course, as a business franchise, and so on. We need to reimagine our scope of business and brands. Equally, do not forget that business is all about dealing with human. Although, as I said in earlier, Buddhism is also something to do with human. Buddhism and business started with B, but on the way, we are really turning to each other. But this is the place I'm inviting you to bring back to the common ground, that is to be knower, to be knowing, that is to be Buddha, and to be dealing with the business, that is to dealing with the human. So if I bring the Buddhism and business into the same term, what I am asking, what I am pledging to you is that, is there any way that we can do a business in a way of humanity? If there's any way that you can do a business with a mindful business, a Buddha business, a Buddhist business, in a way that a Buddha and Buddhist, in a way that you know the consequences, you are responsible, as Koan said. So this is a very word we need, a Buddha business or a responsible business, what we are looking for. Equally, do not forget that business is about dealing with human. Because of that, religion and culture play a significant role in economy, although it seems not directly related. For example, modern trend of religious requirement of halal becoming a big issue in the business world. A big number of consumers adhere Islam. Halal is not limited to food stuff alone, like in the past. Nowadays, every good requires halal trademark, halal branding on it. If we want to expand our market in Islamic countries, therefore, doing branding and business, you can ignore the role of religion requirement and cultural requirement here. Therefore, in the wake of sustainable brand, we need to learn how to reimagine our business, life, world to suit the fast-paced, changing modern society. But again, talking about sustainable, no one would argue against me if I say this decade is a decade of sustainability. We have been hearing about sustainable in every field till some already get allergic to it. For example, I am one of them who is allergic to this term sustainable, which really made me think hard before I accept the invitation to speak this morning. I'm getting allergic to it, not because I'm against the idea behind sustainability, but I see it as another fancy term to add on to our modern conversation. These days, if you don't add the term sustainable into your business, plan, or policy, and even public speeches, you become someone from the distant past. Of course, no one wants to hold on to the Flintstone age. Therefore, sustainability becomes our modern mantra of this decade. It was only 28 years ago that the United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development released the report called Our Common Future. It is, I think, in 1987. The report included what is now one of the most widely recognized definitions of sustainable development. That is, sustainable development is development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sounds so perfect. The world is very optimistic. But as a footnote, I would like to say that this is the same time around when UNESCO also proposed another solution for the world by presenting another term, and that term was cultural development. However, UNESCO's branding was not successful as United Nations World Commission on Environment and Development. Therefore, branding of sustainable development won over cultural development. And that's what we are all talking about. But what does this mean? What are the needs of the present on the definition? Take a minute and jot down 5 to 10 needs that you have in your own life. Have you listed any needs that conflict with one another? For example, if you listed clean air to breathe, but also listed a car for transportation, your needs might conflict. A few years back, I was interviewed by Australian television, ABC. They came to my temple, and then the journalists want to interview me on very weird subject that was about noise pollution in Bangkok. And I said that I'm in the Buddhist temple, and what to do with me with the noise pollution? I guess that the journalist's point of view, she wants my mouth, she wants my status to complain about the management, the complaint about the weak management of the government. But on the other hand, what I told her is that, okay, that is a very relevant question. But can you really tell me what do you mean by noise pollution? Okay, we see that noise pollution is very bad for our health, bad for our society, bad for many, many things. So in case there is an angel, and then the angel told to give you a blessing, and so that you can ask anything from me, but one thing. So you ask for the noise pollution, so that there is no such thing as a noise pollution. And the angel, Abadakabra, immediately there is no noise pollution. Suddenly, when you come out of your room, there is no single person, there is no single car, Everywhere is so silent, there is no single noises. And, of course, that is a perfect solution of noise pollution, isn't it? But I am asking, do you want to live there? So this is a whole conflict we are facing every day in our life. Which you choose? And how would you make your decision? If within ourselves we have conflicting needs, how much is the multiplied when we look at the whole community, city, country, and world? For example, what happens when a company's need for cheap labor conflict with workers' need for livable wages? Or when individual families' needs for firewood conflict with the need to prevent erosion and conserve topsoil? Or when one country's need for electricity result in acid that damages another country's lake and rivers? How do we decide what needs are met? Poor or rich people? Citizens or immigrants? People living in cities or in the countrysides? People in the country or another? People in one country or another? You or your neighbor? The environment or the corporation? The generations or the next generation? When there has to be a trade-off, whose needs should go first? I think that is the whole thing about sustainability we have to think about. People concerned about sustainable development suggest that meeting the needs of the future depends on how well we balance social, economic, and environmental objectives or needs. When making decisions today, isn't that sustainable we are talking all about? Because if you just key the word sustainable into Google, immediately it shows this diagram with these three circles. That is the circle of society, economy, and environment. And just when you laid all these three circles in between, then the middle is what we call sustainable or sustainability. So what social, economic, or environmental needs would you add to puzzle? Many of these objectives may seem to conflict with each other in the short term. For example, industrial growth might conflict with preserving natural resources. Yet, in the long term, responsible use of natural resources now will help ensure that there are resources available for sustained industrial growth far into the future. Studying the puzzle raises a number of difficult questions. For example, can the long-term economic objective of sustained agricultural growth be met if the ecological objectives of preserving biodiversity is not? What happens to the environment in the long term if a large number of people cannot afford to meet their basic household needs today? If you did not have access to safe water and therefore needed wood to boil drinking water so that you and your children would not get sick, would you worry about causing deforestation? Or if you had to drive a long distance to get to work each day, would you be willing to move or get a new job to avoid polluting the air with your car exhaust? If we don't balance our social, economic, and environmental objectives in the short term, how can we expect to sustain our development in the long term? What sustainable development dilemmas do you and your family face in your everyday lives? I'm sure that we can't run away from this bombarding concept of sustainability in our age. Many have already well developed the idea and considered to be the sacred mantra of this age. As a result, they respectfully place it on an altar and worship it as a modern philosophy. This simply means that they are good at praising and talking, not applying it to the business and life. Isn't that what we call philosophy all about? Feeling good and good for quoting, but far from making it happen in life. For example, I'm sure that we all are familiar with sufficiency economy. A wise wisdom from His Majesty King of Thailand to solve a bad economy. But we praised and respect His Majesty's good wishes so that we feel good. We place it on an altar and we respectfully renamed it as a philosophy of sufficiency economy. All national policies and every business sectors claim that their policies and business are guided under the philosophy of sufficiency economy by His Majesty the King. I questioned this practice. Do we really mean it? Or just put sufficiency economy into actions? Do we really mean it, or do we really want to make this happen? Of course, the term is there as a sacred mantra alone in everything what government or corporation claim they do. We are respectfully taking good advice from His Majesty the King to be a philosophy, although the King himself never presented it as a philosophy at all. Go back and look at his all royal speeches and the way the King uses. He never proposed the idea of it as a philosophy. His Majesty King give it as a way how can we solve the problem. It is a pragmatic solution. It is not something you put in the altar and praise it as a philosophy and then we praise and we praise and praise, never bring it into action. So, talking about sustainable brand, talking about sustainability, are we really walking the talk here? So this is a reimagination for you. Therefore, I indeed do have a problem with the modern use of the term sustainability. Let me draw some problem from its widely used definition. Undoubtedly, this is the economic age, and accordingly, the idea behind sustainability is economy. In this age of environmental loss and degradation, the main concern of modern economy suddenly shifted to environment, as Cohen just mentioned in her remark. Consequently, we gave birth to a new branch we call green economy. Suddenly, it became a fashionable term to use, adjective green, for everything. In trending Buddhism, there even came a Buddhist book entitled The Green Buddha. Or the Green Buddha became another synonym for sustainability. Lucky that I am not required to wear the green robe. What I understand of modern sustainability is a simple marriage between development and environment on one hand, and economy and ecology in another hand. The crucial point of this is how do we master environment and ecology as a vital factor of development and economy. Therefore, on the popular definition of sustainability, it emphasizes on how do we compromise the needs of the present and future generations. Please focus on the term compromise. This is a heart of sustainability. An English dictionary defines it simply as settlement of a dispute by concessions on both or all sides. In another word, it is to make a mutual promise. Compromise, actually come and promise. So what we are doing is that we come to promise that, mutual promise that we are going to do and this and that. But the problem is that because once you have to promise, once we have to really settle down and then sort of negotiate this and that, it means that it is not natural at all. You are going against the grain. Because the such thing as a compromise sounds good, but is a negative action by itself. Because compromise means that you have to limit, you have to reduce your desire, just by hoping that, the other party also reduce the desire, and then we come to the mutual term of compromise, bringing promise to each other. But when you have to fulfill the promise, do you ever think that it is something come out from your heart? No, because you are forced to do that by your mutual promise. Because you decided, you have admitted that I will follow this and that based on our conversation, based on our decision, based on our agreement. Although it may sound bad, although you have to give up something of yourself. So look at the word compromise, which is the key word for sustainability. And that's why I am allergic to word sustainable. Because I don't want to compromise with anything. If I need to be compromised, it means that I am enforced by some kind of negotiations. I don't want to negotiate. Because our human mind is that we want to be someone. We want to live our life freedom. We want to live as we like. And this is compromise itself is trying to curtail that freedom. So how possible it is? Am I sound pessimist? Am I sound so negative? Well, I guess that is a nature. And then that need to bring into this table. I personally can't accept this. The one thing is that in Western term, when we bring the word compromise, it means that under the theme of sustainability, we have to compromise. And what do we compromise? From Western point of view, we think that human greed, human needs, human conceit, human hatred is a part of who we are. It is a God-given blessing, I guess. As a human, those are the things which make us human, although it's not a perfect human though. And therefore, we are compromising, we are negotiating that we have to reduce our greed. We are saying that we have to reduce our hatred. We are saying that we have to reduce our conceit. It's a good for monks to say it. But in our later life, in our business world, can we reduce that? Reducing your demand, reducing your desire means that your business is going to be collapsed. The business is all about increasing greed. Business is all about increasing other people's greed. When greed is increased, we see that our business is success. And that's why we need a branding, a successful branding. Therefore, when we say that sustainability, I see the problem here. Is there any way that we can come back to see, instead of compromise, instead of negotiating, internalize it, becoming the Buddha? You know by yourself. Learn it, study it, become the problem within yourself. For example, very easily, if a small kid trying to put his finger into one of the electronic sockets, we ask that, don't do that. You will be shocked, you will be electrified. So that small toddler, small boy doesn't know what is electric shock. So when the elder was, busy doing something, and he tried to put his tiny finger into electric socket, and suddenly what happened? It shocked. He knows by himself. When we say that don't do it, it is not getting into that boy's head. But when he did it, he put his finger into that socket, electric socket, and it shocked. He immediately internalized what is the electric shock. So after that, when we give a small plug without any wire, without any electric socket, asking him to put his finger into that electric socket, do you think that he will put that? That is what I call internalization. That is what I call Buddha. So that's why in the beginning I invite you to be at the Buddha. Not following Buddhism. To be Buddha yourself. Realize, awaken, reimagine. So that you are not bound to be asked to do this and that, but you will do as your nature. You will do it naturally without any controlling, restraining. And that's what we need as a part of sufficiency economy. Having said that, I guess I have to touch upon the sufficiency economy, which is you are all the way here into Thailand. And then Thailand is leading the concept of sufficiency economy, whereas Bhutan is leading the concept of G&H. In fact, the whole idea of His Majesty King sufficiency economy and the Bhutan's idea of a G&H are grounded on the same principle, same idea, that is the word Buddhist mantra of called middle path. If you understand the word middle path, canonically, in the Buddhist term, middle path is actually some kind of a middle way between false views, that is indulgence and asceticism. However, the middle way is not a mere philosophical ideology, but is reflected in all aspects of human life, that is social, political, economic, and psychological, and so on. The pragmatism of the middle path simply means reasoned moral self-discipline, or to have mindfulness and awareness of the body, which neither ignores it nor try to forcefully master it. Simply, it is neither to force nor to please one's mind or desire. Therefore, the middle path can apply to any circumstances of life. Relating to economy, it is obvious that the world economy is heavily polarized to a certain extremism. Consequently, we are suffering from the economy which does not concern in reasoned moral self-discipline. In layman's terms, the key of economy is human desire. From a Buddhist perspective, there are two types of a human desire. One is unlimited desire, that is aim for sensual pleasures, and disciplined desire, the aim for quality life. So what I see here is that the Western approach of sustainability is the first one. Aim for sensual desire just by under the umbrella of compromisation. You are not taught, you are not told to develop yourself to be disciplined desire. So it can be, without telling, without asking, we can do something positive from our inner of us. Capitalist economy, which devours the world economy at present, is subservient to the institution of unlimited desire. It is a kind of extremism leading to competition, snatching, exploitation, human fight, suffering, social violence, and destroys peace and prosperity. The consequence is an extremity, always in a worse direction. It lacks value to keep it on the middle way. Therefore, His Majesty King proposed sufficiency economy based on the middle way of Buddhism. It is a type of economy with reasoned moral self-discipline. It is an economy based on disciplined desire. It is an economy based on compassion for others and environment. It is an economy based on sustenance of mankind and the earth. It is an economy that allows you to enjoy life in peace and happiness with moderation, simply by neither encouraging you to force your mind to a certain extremity, nor to please your desire to a certain extremity. It is a well-balanced life, well-balanced economy. This economy is eco-friendly and leading to happier life. The key concept is the wise moderation in consumption. Ideology, lifestyle, and so on. The true life of the middle path. Therefore, when we are talking about here, the idea of a contentment is another thing for us to reflect upon. In many ways, we thought that contentment, sandot in Thai, is a very bad word. But in fact, the contentment is something, a Buddhist sustainable word, or the mantra of that it is. How do we content with what we do? Not content with the cause, but content with the result, the outcome of it. We are anxiety, we are suffering, we are stressed because we never have a content with the result what we do. We always want to multiply the result and multiply the causes, and it creates a lot of problem. In order to get to idea of sustainability, I guess that this new era is an era of sustainability. We were told that about 10,000 years ago, we had a revolution. The revolution was called agricultural revolution, I guess. And only about 200 to 300 years ago, we have another revolution which become its legacy. That is industrial revolutions. It changed the whole world, how we perceive the world. But this is a time we are talking about the third revolution, the revolution of sustainable revolutions. I just hope that this revolution come to success. I just hope that we can do it without any problem. So, coming back to my topic on building a brand the Buddhist way. I guess that the third revolution human world is only possible with an inner revolution of human perceptions to develop it as a new foundation of Reimagine. Therefore, how do we build a Buddhist brand suitable for the sustainable revolution age? I would like to outline here 4 foundations of perceptions for building a brand the Buddhist way. The first one is that how do we see everything in this earth? Do we see as an existed nature? It is for us to exploit for human sake, or just look at it as a part of us. Human is not master for everything. We are the part of this nature. How do we look at this? Secondly, how do we look at the idea of the law of causality? So if we see the whole idea of a law of causality, then we can link the way how do we think of everything surrounding us. The third point I would like to bring to your attention is that what do we mean by human? Basically, human in Thai language is called manut. And etymologically, manut means that, mana means that mind, usaya means that higher. So what do we call manut or human? It means that something you can develop to a higher stage. Human means that the capability, the idea of evolvability, if there is such a word. Evolving. You are always able to evolve. And that's why it is very important that once you are able to evolve, the potentiality we do have unlimited potentiality. Do we realize that? Therefore, if once we use those Buddhist principles, looking at the worldviews, as a foundation of building a Buddhist brands, we can clearly see the difference between Western sustainable brands and Buddhist sustainable brands. While Western sustainable brands only emphasize on external factors of economy, environment, and society, the Buddhist sustainable brands look at holistic, integrated, and balanced factors of human development to go hand in hand with a sustainable development. This human come sustainable development is only possible through the full process of human development. It can be developed by relating wisdom and ethics through mental qualities. In other words, how we relate, reimagine, and redesign through rebirth. Therefore, a Buddhist brand is only possible when we accomplish rebirth, that is, mental qualities, or for Buddhists, it's called samadhi. By yoking, redesign, that is a social ethics, ethical conducts, that is a sila, and reimagine, that is a wisdom or panya together. So if we bring these three things together in a pragmatic formula to give rebirth to our Buddhist sustainable brands, one needs to accomplish sustainable effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Under the influence of Reimagine, of sustainable view and intention, together with redesign of sustainable speech, action, and livelihood. In another word, the sustainable brand of Reimagine, redesign, and rebirth is in fact no other than the Buddhist Noble Eightfold Path, through which one achieves the perfection of life. This type of Buddhist brand is then can truly call full sustainable brands amidst the nature of unsustainability. This is what we call nirvana or happiness. As a reminding note, I would say that Buddhist happiness is another synonyms of sustainability. Etymologically, sustainable was first used in 1610s to mean bearable. Similarly, Buddhist happiness or word sukha or sukh also etymologically means bearable or feeling of ease. Unlike Western notion of happiness, which lies on the external factor rather than inner factors, etymologically English term happiness is derived from the term hap in the late 14th century, which simply means luck or fortune, which lies outside of yourself. Therefore, a Buddhist happiness is indeed the quality we develop as a human being to be able to tolerate and adjust oneself to new conditions all the time without going through any pain and enforcement and compromisation. It is not kind of happiness conditioned under any compromises, but it is a sustainable happiness, one attained via well-balanced human action. Buddha therefore compares a well-developed sustainability to a type of relationship developed between self and society, as a bee consumes nectar out of flower. The Buddha says, as a bee, without harming the blossoms, its color, its fragrance, takes its nectar and flies away. So should the sage go through a village. And that should be a model of a Buddhist brand. This self-beneficial relationship without harming opposite should be the crucial mantra of sustainability. This model of interdependency should be promoted between human and environment, as well as all creatures who share this planet with us. This is the heart of Buddhist sustainability, building a brand the Buddhist way. Thank you.